All right. It looks like it's lunchtime for some. Lunchtime announcements with Best Center. Well, I think that we have a number of things to, again, kind of bring you up to date on. And because I need to leave a little bit early to get ready for the next session, I thought that Ted and I could tell you a bit more about where we are with the HPBOP credentialing program and the results of our certification pilot exam. Ted?
Yeah, so with HPVOP, just quick review of it. It's something that Best Center has been championing for the past 8+ years to get up and running. It's been a very um, intensive process involving lots of different SMEs, and started with a DACOM background. Was it 2016, Peter?
I think so, yeah. 2016.
Yeah, I think it was all 2016. We're following ISO 17024, and it the we started HPBOP up because we want to emphasize that we have building operators, we have these building maintenance people, and when they get to the point where they're doing more than just turning wrenches, they're doing more than just maintaining equipment, they're actually looking at the building as a whole, and they're looking for it to proceed beyond their life at the building, and also to work with it from a sustainability standpoint. There's just a lot of elements that go into that. We want to set up a certification to recognize that these people are professionals in what they're doing, and that they could take and pass this exam along with the time and experience they have to bring that to industry, bring it to their employers to use to say, hey, I'm doing this. This is something where I want to be recognized for this, and ideally in promotions or in compensation, but just basically being able to elevate people to this professional status. That was the intent behind a lot of this. Um, a lot of people have been involved with developing this, including building engineers, mechanical engineers, designers, a lot of different companies and organizations such as IFMA, um, Schneider, GSA, property management organizations. So it's something that is gone through this long, rigorous process, and we're very proud of it. It's basically what I'm blowing it down to. Um, it's been led by Peter and the Best Center as a whole. So thanks for that leadership on it, Peter. And in the past year, we've had a couple of things that have come through. One is that our 501(c), which is National Alliance for High Performance Building Operations, is up and running. And we have that, and you'll see it on the website. The website for HPBOP is hpbop.org. So in next year, what you're going to see is some, I'm assuming it's going to be with next year. We'll have the curriculum alignment coming out that you can take a look at and start to use to integrate information into your courses if it's applicable. Um, so that's basically it. I just really want to emphasize that we really want to elevate the level of these professionals to professionals and have it recognized by not just their their companies, but by industry as a whole. So,
The other
Larry, oh, go
the
ahead,
other
Peter.
thing I would add to what Ted has said is that we also want to elevate people themselves. We want to stimulate their interest in getting the certification. And it's not something you can really study for, but we are planning. It's clear that from the results of the pilot, and the pass rate was set at I, a score of 67%. So we have had, um, I think we're close to 40 people who have actually passed the test. either in its pilot form or more recently in the post-pilot 100 question version. But it's also clear to me that people need guidance. They need more kind of a refresher um, or review of some of the concepts. Um, and so we've asked for additional funding to develop an online, uh, it would be online on-demand refresher course so that uh, a fair number, we've had tremendous interest in the certification, and
There's a lot of people in this one.
has spanned the industry. We've had very senior people with mechanical engineering degrees and many years of experience in the field as operational engineers, hands-on engineers taking the test. And we've had building operators with union backgrounds, apprenticeship training. They have taken the test and passed as well. But it's also clear to me that uh, some of the folks need more support to uh, prepare for the exam. We've added a guide which gives them some sample questions to work with and some other features. So it's still a work in progress, but uh, everything is working, and there is a procedure to retake the test. And we really want to push out, as Ted was saying, a guide for community colleges to integrate content into their curricula. And Ted, do you want to elaborate a little bit on what that guide will look like, or Ted is our lead on that?
Well, the guide is going to just start. Whoops. Yeah, that's right. The guide is going to be looking at talking through some of the different um, parts of the certification, and as much as possible, we have to stay away from preaching to or teaching to the exam. So you won't have that, but the guide's going to be there to talk about the different general areas and the type of things that are in each of those areas. For instance, energy efficiency or commissioning, and how that relates to a building as a whole, and what type of exercises you might want to bring into your classes to give that information out. So that's kind of the way I've been thinking about it, Peter. I don't know if that quite matches what you're thinking or not. I'm not sure about the as far as exercise are concerned, we're not going to have they're not going to be detailed, but just maybe kind of point to them what type of things you could do. So
And Ted, so this content would be not lab content, but lecture content. Is that right? With maybe
yeah,
in-class activities?
correct. It'll be more the lecture type of content
Right.
with suggestions for possible activities.
And certainly, some of you don't know this, but Bob Clark wrote his doctoral dissertation on systems thinking, and certainly systems thinking is a very important part of HPBOP. And it also touches on the affective domain because continuous quality improvement is very much part of the sort of the DACM certainly called out continuous quality improvement. And so there's an organizational commitment that goes along with high performance. Uh, yeah. Any questions or comments at this point about HPBOP?
So we've got one question in the Q&A, Peter. Is the job task analysis available, which includes the percentage breakdown or the blueprint of the content areas in the exam?
The content areas are available on the hpbop.org website. If you go into the guide, you can see the breakdown. Different areas of the JTA and DACOM. And the JTA is an elaboration of the DACOM. The DACOM was validated nationally, as Ted was indicating. The JTA content areas are described in the guide so that people know where to place emphasis in their preparation, or they certainly know which areas of the DACOM are have more questions associated with them and which less on a percentage basis. And the testing process is essentially automated. People can take the test anytime, 24/7. There is an inspection of their desk area because it is a proctored exam, but it's all online. So in order to preserve the integrity of the exam itself and the exam process, there is a visual screening of the test taker's desk area, and there's I guess, Ted, there's a two-way camera operating. Is that right?
Yeah, well, yes, they can see what you share your camera with them for a while, so they can look around your desk and they look under your desk and around your whole room and make sure you don't have Bob Clark in the corner giving you answers as you're going through and stuff like that. It now two-way, I don't recall. Well, I think they might have the camera on. I think the camera is on the whole way, so whole time. So yeah, it is two-way.
Yeah, and they can monitor your screen as well.
Yeah, they're looking at your screen the whole
Yeah.
time.
I think this is going to answer or get towards answering Bob Clark's question in the chat about if it can be offered using their testing centers. Who is our proctoring service for this exam, Peter or Ted?
It's an entity called Exam Room, and I think your testing center could be used. They would simply log into the Exam Room environment, and they could do it in your test center uh, as easily as they can do it in their own office.
So I think partially to answer that question, Bob, if your testing center is okay with working with Exam Room, they need to be isolated. They need to have a camera and be able to do the screen monitoring process, and to be able to look around the space to make sure that there are no external resources that they can be working with. But you've got your hand up, so I'll let you ask further questions, Bob.
One more thing about that camera first, you have to have a camera that you can move around. So in one case, I actually picked up my laptop and moved it around to show them different areas. In the other case, I had a small camera, that was on a cord I could show them around. So you would have to have something like that, I'm assuming, unless they've gone far enough now that they can allow you to use your phone to show them everything. So go ahead, Bob.
You're muted, Bob.
Kim, can you unmute Bob?
He's not muted through Zoom.
Maybe his mic isn't working.
Who? For Bob? He's unmuted.
It says mute on my end. Oh, no, that's.
If you click mute, you'll mute him.
Did somebody cut Bob's mic?
You guys cut my mic off? There it is.
There it is.
All right. Deal. Sometimes you got to hit the reset button. That's the camera. It's just I was over clicking. So my question is that testing centers, they have all these resources. You can't bring laptops in. They can't do that. Ours is like great, they win national awards and stuff. Uh, when we buy ESCO tests, the one thing for ESCO that was great is transferring all of that stuff because I don't want to give out that test. I want them to go to our testing center. And we buy batches at like 30 or 40 or 50 at a time tests. And then our students in our classes can go conduct those tests. That's what I'm asking is, are we ready to unroll this at that level to where I can have our upper level facility maintenance mechanic programs and building automation program folks start to sit for these tests as part of the classes? That's where I'd like to get this to go. And can we buy them in batches? I know we can use that. They probably know exactly who that testing center group is, but I think everybody has this set up across the country, testing centers like this, where we just offer it no different than the EPA test, where they go to a testing center where they are the watchdogs, they have the cameras, they have stringent requirements, and then we start putting people through this to get this thing moving forward. That's what I'm asking, basically.
So
And I'll
basically,
do that this semester if you're ready.
yeah, Bob, I think we have not had that capability set up yet. I think what you're suggesting is that we would bypass exam room and do a in-person testing process with an in-person
Our testing center probably uses ExamView, Peter. They they probably have that as a service. But if we can buy batches like 30 tests or 40 tests, so it's not every single one, just like the ESCO EPA test, that would be great. Then a whole class could have to take that test.
Yeah, I think that's something we would want to explore with Ohio State University. Ohio State manages the test itself, and we would just have to figure out uh, how to do that. And I don't think it would be difficult from a technical standpoint. Um, we would have to have agreements in place to guarantee the integrity of the process and so on and so forth.
Sure.
But also, I think it's more of a demand push situation. In other words, are you ready with qualified applicants at this point?
Yes. And I think we have folks that we can market this to and have them sit down in the community or in our classroom that are already existing professionals. The other big thing here is, do you have a study guide built around the concepts that you'll be testing against? Kind of like ESCO does. They have a study guide built around the concepts that and information that the students need to understand in order to successfully complete that test. And I'll stop asking all these questions.
So we do have a study guide, and I would ask Ted or Robert to speak to the level of detail that the study guide actually provides.
Well, I don't think I haven't seen what ESCO has, but I would venture to say it's probably not as detailed as what they have. But the study guide does step through different areas and it talks about, or it has a set number of sample type of questions in it.
So
So-
what maybe Bob, you should take a look at the study guide. It's on the website. You can download it and we would appreciate your feedback, whether you think it's adequate at this point, where it needs more detail. That would be very helpful.
I will.
There was a question about recertifying somebody had. And so recertification does not mean you have to take the exam again. If you take an exam, you pass, and you're just running into your time limit for having to renew, then you just need to go through and tick through the list of CEUs or experiences that you have that meet the requirements to be recertified. And that's all up on the website. Hope that helps.
Hey, excuse me, I'm looking at the website here now. Is there an actual study guide or is it resources to help inform what they need to study?
No, there is a study guide.
You have to create an account, Bob, and register as if you're going to take the exam.
Okay, I was just under the resources page and trying to figure it out. Okay, great.
Bob, if you go into the expo area of this institute, you'll find it underneath the HPBOP. I think the study guide is shown right there.
Yep.
We have some other things we want to share, but we are out of time. We only have 3 more minutes. So we'll have to defer those to tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to push over the next session. Just for a reminder for our educators or people interested in education, we're talking about heat pump curriculum. So, and we have, among others, Eugene Silberstein is one of our presenters. So, should be a fun group.
And we also have Jeff Polk from Santa Fe College, and we have Jamie Kono from PNNL, who developed curriculum for the DOE website on heat pump curriculum. And she'll talk more about that resource that's available.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter.